Should we be concerned governments are allowing a doctor to become an agent in death? Do you think that Washington's Death with Dignity Act is a reflection of the decline in moral values of our nation?
Absolutely.
Plus ignorance.
The intentions of that act superficially seem compassionate, caring.
I'd have voted for it 2 years ago. Death with dignity, everybody wants death with dignity. As a health professional, I want patients to have dignity when they die. Of course, I'd vote yes.
On the other hand, I've watched a lot of people die, and there is nothing undignified about dying. Any more than there's anything undignified about being born.
Right.
A newborn is a slimy, sloppy, screaming, red, complaining little creature. Undignified? No, I don't think so. You're seeing life emerge just as in a dying person, you're seeing life depart. And while sure, some dying people lose control of their bladder and bowels and they drool, but most people don't. Most people quiet down as they die. Most people, like me, no longer too interested in eating. You find yourself surprised that you've been able to sit as long as you have in one position because you never did that before in your life. I'm not lonely. I don't mind being alone, but then neither does Heidi.
But I've had the most loving feelings taking care of him this last part in his life. It's drawn us ever closer in a way I never would have anticipated.
I had a patient years ago in a little town of Crescent City, California. A very nice lady who worked as a checker in our only supermarket in Crescent City. She came to me for help. She was terribly upset. She'd been upset for several weeks and was so upset she couldn't work. So I took a careful history to find out how long this had been going on and what set it off. You know what set it off? One of her customers, whose name she hardly knew, had committed suicide. And she got to thinking about it, and she thought, if I'd only been a little nicer to her, especially on days when she looked down in the dumps, maybe she wouldn't have done that. So I'm partly responsible for that woman. Parents never recover when even an adult child kills himself. They carry that around. It's impossible for many people to get rid of. They blame themselves no matter whether they have any responsibility for it or not. And that's invariably true in self-imposed death. Supposedly, the family doesn't need to know about this in the case of a patient who gets poisonous medication from a physician. But you know, that sort of information somehow always gets out. And that means that some unforeseen number of people with unevaluated relationships with that person are going to have emotional reactions, if they're sensitive at all, to that act of violence, which is what suicide is. It's the ultimate act of violence, and it is the most hostile act